Alright, so I got a hold of this junker RCA 16X4. It's from 1940. And I got it all pulled apart here because, basically the radio came in pieces. I actually got a lot of junkers. I got an email from a subscriber. Well, it was actually forwarded from a subscriber to this channel. A lady, her husband had either passed or fell ill. Didn't really get the whole story. And he restored radios, and he had, I'm going to guesstimate 30 to 40 radios. Test equipment, soldering equipment, all kinds of stuff. And she said, if you want it, come get it. And so I went and got the first batch yesterday, and I still need to go back and get the other stuff. But most of these radios are disassembled. The guy took them apart, and she said he got dementia, and I guess he didn't ever finish a lot of them. And so, I just got a hodgepodge. I got all these boxes full of radios. There's like 7 or 8 boxes there, and they got radio chassis in them. There's one box that just has like dial faces and grill cloths and radio backs and stuff like that. Well, this one was more complete. The chassis was in the cabinet. Now the dial scale was in that box. I was able to find it after going through all this stuff. And I don't know if this is a grill cloth. I don't think it is. I mean, it fits in there, but it doesn't look like the grill cloth. It's hooked to a piece of cardboard, but I don't know, it didn't quite line up right. I don't know if that's the right one or not. I mean, who knows? I got I was able to go through one of the boxes and find all 3 knobs. There was one knob on the radio, and I found the other 2 in bags of knobs. So yeah, I've got a whole bunch of radios that I got. She's like, come get it. I mean, I didn't, I mainly wanted the test equipment and a few other sets that she had that were complete. But when somebody's giving you something, I just went ahead and took the whole thing, and I got to go back and get the rest of it. So anyway, we're gonna work on this junker. See if I can get it to work. I don't know. I mean, it probably ain't worth my time, but I figured, well, we'll see what we can do with it. This thing's a mess. It's got components cut. It's got leads that go nowhere. It's got caps that are tacked in here with no tape or any kind of protection. It's got old components. It's got newer components. Who knows? The grill cloth, or the dial cord is coming off. I don't think it's broken, but it's off, and it looks like the speaker's been patched. I mean, it's really not, it's not the greatest radio, but for the price, I'm not going to complain. I was doing her a favor. She said she wanted all this stuff out of there, and so anyway. So let's see what I can do with this thing. I got a schematic on it, and I think all the tubes are in it. I don't know if they're any good, but we should be able to get it to fire up and do something. Alright, so I took this mess out of there for filter caps, and put in from here to the floating ground there. This is an All-American 5 with a tuned RF stage, so it has a floating ground, and then the actual chassis ground, which is where that blob of solder would be at, directly to the chassis. But most of the components in this radio ground on the floating ground, since it's a hot chassis. So anyway, I got the those filter caps, and then I turn it on and I get that. But that's not filter caps, because the filter caps, if it was a filter, it wouldn't go down with the volume. It'd do it all the time. So I got to poking around and started doing this.
If you're on, alert you if somebody puts an AirTag. If you're on Android,
and it starts playing.
Make sure that you get this third-party app.
It wasn't quite that simple. This button here was loose.
You can always buy me 24/7 at AOMindia.com.
So that button, all these buttons need to be clean. That's always a factor. And then your tube sockets, that can be a factor too. So, but it looks like I got it playing. I don't know if everything's working properly yet, but yeah, I thought I'd turn the camera back on and show that I at least got it playing. And so we're going to need to replace this. I think there's something loose in that. It's an old cap anyway. It needs to go. So yeah. Dial cord. I don't think it's long enough. I mean, I tried to wrap this thing around here like the schematic says. I mean, I would assume that the way this looks like it would work would be for the spring, which is here, would have to hook on, and then one cord would go around and then down to this, which is the the tuning shaft, and so then another cord would have to go this way and back around and up here to this little roller wheel here. But when I set it up that way, the dial cord is not long enough, because it has to go from here up through here, over, there's a roller here, then over, there's a roller here, and then back down here. So I don't know, I've tried to set it up that way, and there's just not enough to make it back around on one side. So I'm just going to, it looks like somebody's knotted this thing before, because it came unknotted. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I'm just going to get some dial string and get a longer piece and try it. I mean, ain't got nothing to lose. Alright, we got it. Moving all the way across and all the way back. So, yeah, it took a little bit of work to get this one to work, and every once in a while this thing will want to hang up down here. So I don't understand why they painted what this rolls on. It seems like this has some pitting or something on it. May have to clean that, maybe polish that down a little bit so it'll roll. This will slide across a lot easier than it is. There's some spots it gets caught on, but seems to work pretty good. So got that part done. I'm glad that's over with. Yeah, that cord they had on there just wasn't long enough, so I guess they just gave up on it. Alright, so it's the next day, and I got our dial glass cleaned up in the case here. Eventually I'm going to refinish this cabinet, but I'm not going to do it in this video because I've got so many of these to work on. And I'm just trying to get it up and going, and mainly just get everything together. I'm probably I've got so many radios from this batch that I'm probably not going to be able to service them all, back to back to back. I'm going to have to get them and put them back together, and then and then determine what I can salvage what I can repair and what's just not worth repairing and probably will either get used as parts or tossed out. So but this one, you know, like I said, we got it playing last night, and there's not really a whole lot more to do. I would like to go through and check the resistors, make sure they're in spec, and then I'll probably do like a quick alignment on this and call it good. This one tube back here had bad on it. I don't know. You know, the thing seems to work fine. I'm probably check the tubes and just do an alignment on it after that, after I know everything's good, and call it good on this set. Alright, so I went through and checked the resistors. They actually don't look that bad. They're barely, some of them are barely within 20%. I'm just going to leave them. This is just a capacitor for the phonio. This really serves no purpose in the radio itself, so I probably will replace that. But anyway, this is what I don't get, is this. I mean, you know, I don't understand this. I mean, unless this was temporary, and somebody was, you know, just testing this or whatever. But you know, this is a no-no. This is just twisted together. I'm gonna unsolder that and solder that back like it's supposed to. And I think it's the same way up here on this tube socket. There's no solder on that, so we got to clean all that up. Alright, so checking this 12 SQ7. I think I know why it had bad written on it. It's coming up as having a short. Emissions check okay. Or it did. Oh, put it off a line adjust, dummy. The emission check okay, but it's got a short, coming up as a short. Well, all the other tubes check good. Then I got to this rectifier, and it's pretty shot. Comes up, starts dropping off. So that ain't no good, but I had a spare in my box. And this is a spare. That looks a lot better. Alright, so I got this thing back in the cabinet, and I was able to round up enough pieces to put it back together. I had to go through boxes and boxes to find this grill cloth. I believe it's the one that goes in here, but I'm not 100% sure. The other one, this one here, just didn't. That looks like something that would go up underneath something else. I don't think that would be the outside, but the knob holes didn't quite line up, and so anyway, I just ended up going with that one. I think it looks pretty decent. You know, it really needs a new one, but and this thing needs to be refinished. But I'm not really doing cosmetics right now because I've got so many other radios in this batch. Mainly, I need to get them put back together, you know, from pieces, because this guy took every single one of these things apart, and I need to just reassemble them and then go through, you know, as I'm, and figure out what is worth saving and what isn't, because there's some that aren't, because the speakers are bad, and some of them have those electrodynamic speakers, and having them reconed is just ridiculously expensive. And so some things are going to get junked, some things are going to get saved. This one is savable, but I just wanted to get it at least working, and then I can come back later maybe and refinish it. So anyway, thought I'd do a video on it and let you guys come along, do a quick band scan. It's during the daytime. The band's really noisy, like electrical type noise, and static on the lower end of the band. The camera's making noise in here.
4600. We had a call from Edinburgh, Virginia, the $100.
Have a big old vat of that. I have oatmeal. I have, let's see, some dried fruit for the kids.
970 there.
Right, but to the extent, and most of them
completely disappeared. There are so many people out there whose experiences with Relief Factor are just like Mark's. What about you?
Who is in need. He notices the one who is hurting. So often the world...
Alright, so that's about it. We don't really get much around here during the day. So we'll let it go at that. This RCA, what does this say? 14X4, I believe, or 16X4 from 1940. It's working, and hopefully we'll get back on it and get the cabinet done and stuff like that. But at least it's working. The lady was going to throw all this stuff in the trash, so it's saved from the trash. Thank y'all for watching.